and welcome to my best of 2019 books, which is so exciting and so hard to do. It was so hard to do this, guys. It was really, really hard. I read 150 books this year. I will do a video at the beginning of the year listing all the books. I think I've read like 153 right now, but it's hard to pick only 10 out of that. That's like below 10% margins right there that you would hit the top 10. So if you guys watch my best new releases of 2019 and my best romances, some books are pulled from those, but this list is highly different. So yeah, let's get started. Book number 10 was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Now this book came out a long time ago. I just didn't get on the bandwagon. I read part of it and then I went and watched the movie, and the movie was really fun and good, but then I went back and finally was like, I want to read the whole story, and it was really, really... This book is set in 2044 and it's about a young boy named Wade, and if you haven't seen the movie or anything, but it is about a boy who is like living in Oasis, and like everybody kind of lives in the Oasis. It's this like video game setup where you can like live and do everything in it, and oh, it's so much fun. This book has so much video game history. Now that I'm a video game buff, but I had so much fun with this book and learning about video game history in it, and the book was done so much better than the movie, and I really already liked the movie, so I had a lot of fun with it. It was a really good book. There is a lot of adventures and going up against like big companies and people wanting to kill him, and the whole scenario of the thing is that the man who created the Oasis put in Easter eggs, and like nobody can find them for a really long time. And these Easter eggs, if you find all 3 of them, then you will end up owning the company, or his share of the company, and you will be a billionaire, because everybody in the world plays this. And so yeah, you get to see what 2044 looks like. I think this book was written back in 2011. And then the movie came out like last year or the year before. But I had a lot of fun with it. I would highly suggest it. If you've seen the movie, I would still go back and read the book, because the book was better than the movie. And that is my book number 10. Book number 9 was The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. I didn't know, it's like, I had read Stephanie Meyer's Twilight and I had enjoyed them back in the day. I read it when like Twilight and New Moon were out, and then I think we had to wait. My husband was like, hey, I think you'd like these books. And then I think we had to wait for the other 2, and then the movie came out. And that was a whole phenomenon. And so I think this was like a thing where I was like, I don't know if I still like Stephanie Meyer's writing or whatever. But it was on the top seller list for like forever. And so finally this year I picked it up just on a whim, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought her writing was done so much better. She wrote in a different position. Before, she always wrote in first person. I think she wrote in third person in this book, but this book was really, really done well. I don't particularly love mysteries and thrillers, but this was a mystery thriller romance, so it did not make it into the top romances, as you can tell, because I had to cut those down to actual real romance-based books, and this book is more mystery-based. But it is about a young woman who's a chemist. She works for a secret agency in the government that nobody really knows about. People are trying to kill her. And then she meets a guy who's also trying to be killed. She actually kidnaps his brother and is gonna kill him. But so his other brother comes along and saves the day a bit. But it is really, really good. It is a thriller all the way through. It's got a lot of romance in it, and Stephanie Meyer is pretty dang good at romance, as we know. And I really, really enjoyed it. I really loved it and liked it. I hope she brings out more books like this. I mean, more on the mystery thriller romance side. I think she did a really good hybrid of it. It's about 50-50. It's not a heavily mystery thriller, or it's not a heavily romance. I would say it's about 50-50. Halfway. But absolutely love the book. So glad I bought it. Oh, it's so good. So good. The next one is from my 2019 list, and it is The Huntress by Kate Quinn. So this made it on my top 2019 list. I think it made it into the top 5 at least. I would hope so if it's up here on this list. It's book number 7. And this is a huge thriller that came out this year, but it's historical fiction as well, and it's mystery as well, and it's romantic as well, a tiny bit of romance tossed in there. But I had a lot of fun with it, and it is about a cast of characters, like people that are Nazi hunters and people who are like post World War II, and the book kind of goes back and forth to during World War II and then after World War II, and they're hunting a woman named the Huntress who had killed some people and killed children even, and one of the women she tried to attempt to kill was a Russian airplane pilot, which she's really fun to get to know too. She's a huge part of the story as well. I had so much fun with this, and I think you guys would really, really enjoy it. I really liked it if you're into historical fiction or romance or mystery or thriller, so I think it goes across the boards. But it was a really good book. The next one was The Island of the Sea and Women by Lisa C. This one tells the story of Young Suk and Myeong. I don't know how to say their names, but it tells the story of two women who are Haenyeo and they live on an island, and it is a flip-flop gender society. So the women on the island bring home all the money, they go diving every day, and then the men stay home and take care of the children, but the women make the decisions about the household. It is a really good book. It goes through World War II and the Korean War, and then afterwards the human rights atrocities. It goes all the way up to present day, so the woman is like 90 something years old, and she's still a Haenyeo, and she's still diving in the sea, and it learned so much more about a culture I didn't know about. It was really, really, really well done for historical fiction, and I absolutely, truly enjoyed it and loved it, and I think everybody else will too, and I had so much fun with it, and that's why it was book number 6. Book number 5 is... No, that was why it was book number 7. And book number 6 is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Okay, can you sit down again? Come on, Toots. Just sit down. Sit. Hi, Tinky. This is Tinkerbell. I don't know if you can see her because Toodles is jealous. Sit. Here, Tinky. She's making all the noise in the background, aren't you, Tink? Oh, she's a big bully. She does not guys to be lift and stuff, guys. I should put her down. Okay. So my book number 6, go guys, go. Go Toodles. My book number 6 is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This book just tore my heart out this year. I absolutely loved it. It is about domestic violence a lot in the romance books. And it is about a girl who lived through, sit down, who lived through domestic violence scenarios growing up, and then she kind of puts a kibosh to it during her own romantic life. But it pulls at the heartstrings. You want him to work it out, and you don't want him to work it out. You don't know where she's going. There's a third boy who she's known her whole life who has gone through so much with her, and she's gone through so much with him as well when they were young. And my dogs are super annoying. Come on, sit down. The next one is Becoming. So book number 5 is Becoming by Michelle Obama. This one came out last year, and everybody and their dog read it, but I didn't because I just put it on my library list and thought whatever. I've always wanted to read all of the presidential books and all the First Lady books, so it's like a goal of mine in life. But I think it's because she's modern too that her book, it reads so much better than some of the elder ones, some of the older biographies in that scenario. I really liked it. The whole story, the reason it's called Becoming by the First Lady is because she constantly changed her life and decided to have new passions in life and change her careers. And she did a lot of different careers before she became the First Lady. And it's about what she's becoming now and what her goals in life are now. So there's a lot of becoming in it, and it was done really well. I would not suggest listening to the audiobook. She reads the audiobook, and it reads really slowly. I had to double time it. I usually always put my audiobooks on 1.25, but yeah, it's really done. It was good. It was really good for a nonfiction piece. It was one of the best nonfiction pieces. Actually, it's gotta be. Yeah, it was the best nonfiction piece I had this year. And then book number 4 is Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Senner. This one made it to the top of my list of 2019 book releases, I believe. So we're getting up there. But I had so much fun with this. I really, really enjoyed it and liked it. It was about a young girl who works in a firehouse, and it's about a young girl who works in a firehouse that's more liberal, and then the firehouse she moves to is more old school. It is definitely a boys club she came from still, but this is even more old school, and they don't have the funding. They don't work with girls usually. And yeah, she learns a lot and changes a lot, and they learn a lot and they change a lot, and the author just gets it done right. It's kind of just a more typical story, but she brings a lot of life to it. and does a lot of research on EMT Firehouse, and everything in the story just flows appropriately. You don't feel bogged down from knowing all this stuff about being an EMT, and I just like the story and how it flowed. It was one of the best written stories I read this year. I had so much fun with it. Top 3 or book number 3. So these are all books that are just, oh, they stole my heart, right? And maybe they weren't on the top of the other list, but to me, they mean something a lot more. So book number 3 was The Library of Auschwitz by Antonia Dube. I had trouble saying his name all year. The Librarian of Auschwitz is about a group of people in Auschwitz who, it kind of goes before Auschwitz, and then also it goes up to after Auschwitz, and then also there's the author's notes, which you really want to read, which makes the story even better. But it's about a girl who hides books, and it could kill her. But she hides books to have a school in Auschwitz, and you don't know why there's this whole family setup unless you know history and have read a history about Auschwitz. But there's a family block at Auschwitz that there's some reason they're keeping family around and children around and not killing them. There are some hard parts about the story where they do just kill off a ton of kids all at once. Oh, it is bad. It is so sad. The book is done really well. And the only thing is that it was translated. So sometimes I feel like there's something missing a little bit in translation, but it was so well done. It was such a good story. It was one of the most moving historical pieces I read this year. And I absolutely love historical fiction. And it was done so well. Definitely read the author's notes. Oh, it'll pull at your heartstrings. It'll make you cry. It is so good. But yeah, it's about a young lady, and she hides the books she actually puts them in her armpits, like she makes little pockets, to give these children schooling. But it's basically just to keep their mind off of all the terrible atrocities that are going on around them, and where there's life, there's hope. So you gotta keep learning, gotta keep moving. Book number 2 was Superman. Superman by Matt De La Pena. This one just stole my heart because I love the story of Superman. I've always loved Superman, so I had to put this on the list. This was a 2019 release, and it wasn't as high in my 2019 release, but those ones I did like differently, like the way I categorize them, but I love Superman. There's no way of getting around it. I absolutely love the story. It was an easy read. I love the DC Icon series that they put out. They're my favorite series that I've read in the last few years. And I had so much fun with it. It's an origin story about Clark Kent, and I think the author got it right. He got the innocence of Superman right, and he got what teenagers are actually capable of doing, because sometimes people make it too hard of complicated problems that teenagers could actually accomplish. He got the teenager part right. I really enjoyed it and thought the book was so well done. I had so much fun with it. It's one of my favorites this year. It's definitely one of my favorites. And my very top favorite, if you guys couldn't have guessed it, then I don't know where you guys live. Here's our top favorite this year. So this book had to steal my heart, right? And had to pull heartstrings, and it had to be something I am into, and had to be a bit historical, it had to be a bit romantic, because those are my 2 main categories, and it had to be written really well, like one of the best written books I have read. So, as we've talked about a million times this year, my favorite book of the year, it's Kristen Hanna's Great Alone. I absolutely love this. She got huge praise for her historical novel and about World War II. This one is definitely different, but it's also historical fiction as well. It's about it starts out in the 70s, and it's about a man who is suffering from PTSD and alcohol, and he takes his family and he moves to the Great Alone in Alaska. And you're really actually alone. The community does help out a lot, but you have to get stuff done in the summer in order to survive in the winter. You have to abide by rules in order to survive in the winter. There's a lot of things you cannot do. So there's heartache in this. There's a lot of family troubles in this book. It's about a mother and a father and a girl. And there is romance put in. And it does span quite a bit of time. I think it spans from when she's 12 to 25 or something. The main story is all about one little girl's perspective of all of this. But it is done so well. And it was so good. I read her other book. this year as well, but I didn't like it as much as The Nightingale. I love The Nightingale, don't get me wrong. The Nightingale was done really, really well, and it was right up my avenue. It is historical romance. I just liked The Great Unknown for whatever reason more. I liked the setting of it. I'm set in Alaska. I grew up in a very cold, harsh winter place as well. Not so survivalist, like we could survive really easily, but yeah, I love this book. Absolutely loved it. It had everything for me. It had romance. It has historical fiction. It was well written, and I love all the characters in it, all the side characters. Not in every book do you love all the side characters and the main characters, but I loved them all. She brought them all to life. It's done really, really well. Such good writing. I would say this is one of the most universal books I read as well. So people would universally like it. But yeah, this is my top favorite of 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed Bookmas, and I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 books of 2019, or my top 19 books of 2019, my top 10 romances of this year, and my top 10 books I read this year. I'm so excited for next year. Hopefully Kristen Hanna comes out with some new releases again next year, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys after the holidays. See you guys next time. Bye.